Hey guys, welcome to my channel Hairliciously. Today I wanted to talk about the topic of minoxidil, specifically minoxidil 10%. I've been seeing a lot of comments on my YouTube and from various forums that talk about the effectiveness of minoxidil 10%. I decided to do some research and share with you guys some of the information that I found. Minoxidil is only one of two treatments approved by the FDA to treat hair loss. The other one is Finasteride. The brand name is Propecia. There's been a lot of trials on minoxidil and they've tested different concentrations, particularly 2% versus 5%. And they found that the 5% concentration was significantly stronger and also increased and improved the hair regrowth in people that was using 5% versus 2%. A lot of people were wondering, well, if that's the case, would a higher or stronger concentration of minoxidil, such as 10%, produce even better results? So to give you guys a little bit of background about minoxidil, minoxidil is a medication that is applied topically to the scalp. It is known to slow hair loss, and in many people it actually causes hair regrowth. It was originally developed to treat high blood pressure, and the hair regrowing effects of minoxidil were actually discovered by accident. And this is the case with a lot of different types of medications nowadays. Patients treated for hypertension reported unexpected hair growth from minoxidil. And in 1988, a 2% topical solution was approved to treat androgenetic alopecia, also known as male pattern baldness. In the announcement, the FDA noted that around 39% of men had moderate to dense hair growth on the crown of the head, and this is only from the 2%. I say that this is from the crown because this is the only area that they've really tested, but this also works for the hairline. So if you guys are wondering, you can also use it on your hairline and not just your crown. You guys might have heard the brand name Rogaine, which is the most popular brand of minoxidil. But in 1996, Rogaine's patent for minoxidil expired, which allowed a lot of other manufacturers to start producing their own generic versions. A year later, there was the 5% concentration of minoxidil by Rogaine, which was also introduced. So we want to know how the 5% version of minoxidil compared to the original 2%. So in a study, it showed that 5% topical minoxidil was clearly superior to the 2% minoxidil and placebo in increasing hair regrowth, and the magnitude of its effect was marked, which means that there's 45% more hair regrowth than 2% topical minoxidil at week 48. Men who had actually used 5% topical minoxidil also had an earlier response to treatment than those who've used the 2% topical minoxidil. Psychosocial perceptions of hair loss in men with androgenetic alopecia were also improved. Topical minoxidil, 5% and 2%, was well tolerated by the men in this trial without evidence of systemic effects. So not only was 5% minoxidil more effective than the 2% minoxidil, but it was much more effective. This shows that it's also dose dependent, at least on this level. The higher the concentration of minoxidil, the more hair regrowth. Not only that, it also takes less time to start seeing results by using 5% compared to 2% minoxidil. So the question is a 10% minoxidil solution going to be more effective than the 5%? Unfortunately, there has not been any clinical studies like the ones that were done for 5% and 2%, but the differences between the 2% and the 5% solutions of minoxidil suggest that a higher concentration would indeed be more effective. What's even more is that there are plenty of reports online that support the benefits of a higher strength minoxidil. With that said, 2% versus 5% minoxidil solutions for hair regrowth wasn't directly proportional to the concentration of minoxidil. Higher concentrations did indeed produce better results, but just because 10% is going to be twice as strong as 5% does not guarantee that you're going to regrow twice as much as hair. Nevertheless, it's reasonable to expect a 10% minoxidil solution to produce significantly superior results to both 2% and 5% solutions. What about even stronger solutions? You guys might think, well, what about 20%, 30%, 35%? Unfortunately, there is a limit to how concentrated these solutions can be. And that's because minoxidil in its powder form cannot be absorbed by the skin. Instead, it needs to be dissolved into a liquid or some type of foam vehicle. And that's why for minoxidil, they offer either the liquid version or the foam version. The commonly used vehicles to carry minoxidil is propylene glycol and ethanol, which can only dissolve around 100 milligrams of minoxidil per 1 milliliter. This makes it very difficult to make concentrations above 10% without having excess minoxidil powder floating in the solution. So as far as side effects for minoxidil, pretty much as safe as they come, and because of this excellent safety profile, minoxidil is available over the counter instead of being a prescription drug. But some of the users do report negative side effects from using minoxidil. The most common side effects include dry scalp, irritation, and redness. These symptoms are usually a response to inactive ingredients rather than minoxidil itself. Alcohol and propylene glycol, for example, can cause skin irritation if you particularly have sensitive skin. A higher concentration of minoxidil doesn't really increase these symptoms, but it does increase the systemic minoxidil absorption. Being a topical medication for minoxidil, it's very rare for minoxidil to actually make its way into the bloodstream. But if it does happen, it can lead to some pretty serious side effects such as dizziness, fainting, or rapid irregular heartbeat. And like I said, these are pretty much rare side effects. But if you're using derma rolling as part of your hair regrowth regimen, then you want to make sure that you wait at least 24 hours after you use derma rolling so that the minoxidil is not going to go into your bloodstream. So the bottom line is minoxidil is not going to work for everybody, but if you do respond really well to the 5% solution of minoxidil, you're likely to see even better results with the 10% solution. Because of minoxidil's excellent safety profile, more concentrated versions are unlikely to cause negative side effects. But unlike finasteride, please note that minoxidil does nothing to reduce DHT levels. DHT is the hormone that's responsible for hair loss, but minoxidil is one of the only hair loss solutions that can actually regrow hair. And when it's used in conjunction with drugs that reduce DHT, such as finasteride or dutasteride, it can lead to some pretty impressive results. There's my research, guys. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. As you guys know, I've actually started using finasteride. I've stopped using minoxidil in the time being. I'm still using derma rolling, and if you guys are interested, I do sell derma rollers on my website at hairliciously.com. But thanks for watching, guys. If you guys have any questions, leave me some comments, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.